Welcome back everyone to the Silent Hill 2 project. We're going to attempt to get through the next part of the game in the original and remake in this video. Before we do, I want to do a quick recap on everything that we know so far that we've learned, because this is the halfway point of the game, in my opinion. And I'm not going to go into all these memos, but so far, I think the main concepts that the game has taught us is that we are James. We are one of three people, okay? The first thing that happens in the game is that we find James self-reflecting in a mirror. We looked at all that. We looked at the definition of self-reflection. We talked a lot about the game being related to memory, or recollection, which comes through self-reflection. Now we know that there are two other people in town with us that are having similar experiences. There's Angela, who we first run into in the cemetery at the beginning of the game, and then there's Eddie that we run into in the apartments. Now, one thing that we've gathered through the total of two cutscenes that we've had with each of these other two characters so far is that Eddie seems to be here for some reason. James brings it up. He's like, the town brought you here for some reason or some purpose too, right? So that's what James has in common with Eddie. But Angela is a little bit more mysterious. We find her self-reflecting in the second cutscene that we encounter her, and that happened in the apartment. So she was kind of doing something similar to what James was doing. And I made kind of a funny statement in the previous video that James and Angela self-reflect, but Eddie, the only self-reflection that he did was in a toilet bowl, or maybe in a greasy pizza. So that's what we know so far, is that these other two people, just like James, they might not be experiencing exactly what he's experiencing, but they are having some kind of delusions. Then in the previous episode of the hospital in the original game, we realized that this is an illness, quote unquote, is what the doctor called it, an illness. He said it has the potential to exist in any man or woman. We find that in the doctor's journal. The first thing we find is this patient record, and it has information on three patients. Joseph is the main patient that the game wants us to focus on. And the reason why is because there are similarities in the story of Joseph and the story of James. And those similarities have to do with, well, we don't know this, you know, the first time you're playing through the game, you're not gonna know this, but we know this after playing the game more than once, that this similarity comes from some sort of blame, which is causing a sort of delusion and causing what the doctor called being driven to the other side. And then he actually corrects himself and says that the other side might not be the best way to phrase it, that the potential of this lies in any man or woman. And I talked about how terrifying that is in the previous episode of the original game. So this is what we know so far. We know that whatever James is experiencing, which has been pretty intense up to this point, you know, especially in the hospital, what happened? Was he driven to the other side? That area, that place where the boundaries or the borders of reality and unreality intersect. And if that's what's happening, because we also know about this other character in the game named Laura, a little girl that seems to not be affected by the things that James is experiencing. So how can it be that there are three people that are having delusional experiences in the town of Silent Hill, yet there's this other little girl that's not having any experiences, she's not fazed by it? So what's up with that? Why is it that these three people are having these nightmare encounters, but this little girl is not? Now, it could be because she's a kid, you know, she's innocent. She is not experiencing the same thing that James or Eddie or Angela is experiencing, because she hasn't, you know, experienced any kind of heavy life experience like what any of them are going through. We know that Angela is looking for her family, and apparently, you know, they could be dead. We don't know for sure, but we do know that we found her holding a knife, and she actually gave it to us because she said she didn't know what she would do if she didn't give it to us, and the knife has blood on it. So that's kind of weird, and we still have the knife. Okay, Eddie, we walk in on him puking in an apartment, and there's a dead guy in the fridge, and, well, it's clearly a human. It's not a monster. It's a dead guy in a fridge, and he's like all defensive, saying, "It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't kill him, I swear." So that kind of makes him look guilty, you know, in some way or another. It kind of makes him look suspicious. Also, he's not really necessarily taking any of his encounters in the town that seriously. I mean, he is sitting around eating pizza while James is like fighting for his life, but he does admit to James that he's seeing monsters, okay? From speculation, we know that these experiences that James, Eddie, Angela are all having, they might be unique to their stories, because they're not all experiencing the same things. Going back to the conversation that you originally have with Eddie in the apartment building, when James says, "You're not friends with that red pyramid thing, are you?" And Eddie says, "I don't know what you're talking about." So apparently Eddie, he's seeing some weird looking monsters. He does say that. So he's having some kind of experience, but it's not the same experience that James is having. Same thing with Angela. Again, she tries to warn James about the town and that it's dangerous at the beginning of the game. So if she sees the town as being dangerous, that means she must be experiencing something too, right? So that all goes along with the town of Silent Hill manifesting things from these people's psyches, you know. There's something inside of them that the town is reflecting back to them. That's why we find Pyramid Head in an apartment having some kind of sexual relations. That's my Bill Clinton impersonation. With a mannequin, right? And this, we're told by the developers, this reflects the sexual frustration that James has. So then you start to wonder, well, why does James have frustration? Well, he hadn't gotten laid in a long time, apparently. According to him, 3 years. That's when his wife died, right? So, you know, that's all I'm going to say right now. I need to go ahead and get started. I'm talking too much. But I wanted to get kind of on track and talk about this point of the game, or what we've been leading up to this point. Now, he says something really profound when he comes out of the hospital, and I'll try to play that message again right here, and then we'll talk about it as we're on our way. "Maria's dead. I couldn't protect her. Once again, I couldn't do anything to help. Laura has run off somewhere. Mary, what should I do? Are you really waiting somewhere for me? Or is this your way of taking? I'm going to find Mary. It's the only thing I have left." Okay, guys, so leave a comment about the comment that James makes about Mary when he says, "Are you really in this town? Or is this your way of taking?" Taking what? Revenge. That's what I think he was going to say. And then he stops himself. And that's the only time in the game that he's going to say something like that. One thing I need to do is recap what we're actually doing. We're trying to get over to the east side of South Vale because apparently there is a letter and a wrench waiting right there for us. So we got to make our way over there in this nightmare version of the town. So this is our first time experiencing the town itself like this. There are quite a bit of pickups out here. There's also obviously quite a bit of monsters out here, so it's up to you. If you want to explore around, you'll get rewarded for it. If not, well, I can't say I blame you. And guys, just wait till we get to the remake and do this part, because, yeah, you'll see. So I'll run around a little bit, but I don't want to take too much time. I've already taken enough time talking, so. Okay, so this door that we just went through, or the door that we're about to go through, it was locked. And I tried to open it at the beginning of the game when we explored the east side of the map. If you listen, you can hear something that sounds big. It's like big and it's moving around. And at first, that sound, it could really scare you, because you see like this metal grate in front of you and it sounds like something big stomping around, like there was just something right in front of you and it's really big, but now it's gone. Where'd it go? Well, what is that? Why can't we see it? Oh, so it's not stomping around on the metal grate, it's underneath it. Those are called mandarins, and it's the first time you encounter them in the game. Different monster type. But I will say that those things in the remake, I don't like them. They're like unbearable in the remake, especially at a later part of the game. This place is just littered with items. We can come back in the camper once again. There's a save point here. Yeah, this is just it's a big trek. It's almost like an errand mission, but basically all you're doing right now is you're setting yourself up to get to the next area in the game, which is a big and important area for sure. Ran right past it. Keep in mind that, you know, all these monsters, should you decide to turn your flashlight off to make it extremely hard to see, but if you do that, then they're going to be much less likely to spot you. So I got to remember where this stuff is. I think it's up here. Here we go. Got a wrench. Got a letter. Or perhaps you are a fool. The truth usually betrays people. Remember, we were talking about that before. The abyss, the truth. A part of that abyss is in the old society. The key to the society is in the park, at the foot of the praying woman, inside of the ground, inside of a box. To open it, I need a wrench. My patient buried it there. I knew, but did nothing. It made me uneasy to have such a thing near. I wasn't looking for the truth. I was looking for tranquility. So this note sounds like it's from the same doctor that left the note in the doctor's journal that we read about the other side. I also saw that thing. I fled, but the museum was sealed as well. Now no one dares to approach that place. If you still do not wish to stop, James, I pray to the Lord to have mercy on your eternal soul. So that's a little bit cryptic right there. But guys, in the hospital video for the original game, like I told you, something happened. Something happened with the doctor of Joseph. Like something happened to Joseph and something happened to his doctor. So apparently his doctor found something, discovered something, something happened with his doctor, and I guess it was one of those cases where the doctor was attempting to help the patient, but then the patient actually ended up blowing the doctor's mind. The doctor realized some kind of hidden truth through his patient, and it changed his whole prerogative, his whole understanding of things. But it definitely has to do with whatever we're experiencing right now, right? The other side. Maybe his doctor experienced something. This is the door that wakes in darkness, opening into nightmares. So now we understand the foreshadowing of what we encounter earlier in the game This door was actually locked, but now it has awoken in the darkness, opening into nightmares. So that's really cool how they did that. At least we don't have to go back through the apartments again now. It does make you wonder, though. It makes you wonder, like, ow. It makes you wonder what the apartments would be like in the nightmare, right? Because you don't actually get to see that in the original game. You kind of get to see it in the remake. Which is another change that they made. If you remember, the Woodside apartments were normal, but then when we went into Blue Creek, we crossed through that fire escape, things kind of went into like this nightmare kind of scenario, similar to what we experienced at the hospital in the remake. So you don't actually experience that in the original game. Now, what we're doing back in Rosewater Park is we're trying to find the statue of the praying woman. And it just feels weird being back here after we experienced Maria die. It kind of feels weird the second time around in the dark. The ground is raised up only here. Could there be something under here? Yes. Oh, so that's why we need a wrench. Okay. The small metal box is fastened by bolts. I can't open the lid. Could you imagine if you didn't grab that wrench? How much that would suck. Bronze key. Let's check out that key after I heal, because that nurse kind of messed me up. Now, guys, another thing about this freaking cheats enabled thing that I mentioned is that I turned it off, so I am actually getting damage now, and I can die, but it's not depleting my resources, as you can tell. So, you know, it's a user error. It's my mistake, my fault. I should have paid more attention to the way my emulator was set up before I started the game, but it's a little late now to fix that, so I do apologize. That was not my intent. And I really don't know that much about emulators to begin with, so yeah. Didn't mean to do that, but it is what it is now. We're a little late to try to do anything about it. We'll take a look at that key and see what it says about it. Antique looking bronze key. It was hidden behind one of those statues lined up in the park. So we know that we need to head to the Historical Society. now, so we can kind of infer what that key is for. No, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if there's anything worth looking at between here and the Historical Society. I know there's a gas station. We're gonna pass Pete's Bolorama. We passed Jack's Inn when we came out of Rosewater Park. But I can't recall really anything too particularly interesting to stop and check. So we're almost there, guys. Scary out there. Okay, so this place is extremely interesting, and there's a save point here, which I won't use. No need. Got some stuff in display cases. Wiltsey coal mine. So there is a mine. Is that the same mine that they tried to depict in Downpour? Does anybody know? Anyway, here's the elephant in the room right here. Misty day, remains of the judgment. It's him. So yes, that is in fact Pyramid Head, and now we know that he actually has a place. Now I don't know, it kind of sounds like the doctor, that note that we just found about the doctor, it kind of sounds like he mentioned something about Pyramid Head. And maybe he didn't see Pyramid Head like James is seeing him, but he perhaps saw or knows about this picture. Which, by the way, Masahiro Ito is the mind behind all the monsters in Silent Hill 2. So Pyramid Head was all from his imagination. But we know from looking at this that it's got to do with judgment. It says remains of the judgment. So looking back at what we read on that historic marker about Blood Swamp, when it mentions executioners, we can kind of put together right here, if we're insightful enough, that Pyramid Head must have some kind of lore in the town of Silent Hill as some kind of executioner. And so what James is doing, or actually what Silent Hill is doing to James, it's manifesting judgment because of, well, if James is anything like Joseph, he must feel guilty for something, right? So it's kind of connected. And I mean, if you were insightful enough, I wasn't smart enough to come up with this, or actually I wasn't smart enough to figure this out, but this is one of the main things that most people kind of put together as soon as the game came out. Well, Pyramid Head, he's one of those executioners that the historic marker about Blood Swamp mentions, and James is seeing Pyramid Head because he feels guilty. And you're not supposed to know that at this point, but maybe at this point, if this was the first time you played the game, you might be thinking, okay, James is being judged because he did something wrong. And it's not until later on that you actually figure out what it's all about. But this character, Pyramid Head, apparently, if you go by what the lore is alluding to, then you know that this creature was an executioner in the history of the town. So people apparently, as I mentioned before, in that historic marker kind of alludes to, is that people were like sacrificed in this swamp, Blood Swamp. And so there were executioners, and Pyramid Head apparently was a part of that. But why is James seeing this thing? I guess that's the real question. And I'm sorry, I didn't I didn't convey that very well, but that's pretty much the way that you put it together, or that's how it's connected, I should say. Pyramid Head is part of the town's lore. So yes, there was a point that everybody, especially the victims, the people that were sacrificed, would have seen Pyramid Head, but that was a long time ago. So now that James is seeing Pyramid Head, how is that connected? I guess that's probably the best way to say it. Like, these people were being judged, so does that mean that James is being judged too? Is this the town's way of judging and punishing James because he did something wrong? That's probably a better way of saying it right there. We'll just go with that. Now this sound that's coming up, it's another one of those memorable sounds for me. It's quite a bit of interesting content on the walls. Brookhaven Hospital, 1880. This hospital was built in response to a great plague that followed a wave of immigration to this area. It was originally little more than a shack, but it gradually grew and grew. photo of the director of the old Brookhaven Hospital. It looks like he was a famous person in town. It's a picture of a deep hole. More foreshadowing, right? And this is so interesting right here. Huge hole in the wall. Shattered case. By the way, this is where the chalice is, or the goblet, sorry. For the rebirth ending? Is that right? Am I saying that right? Just trying to make sure I'm not overlooking anything. I guess that's pretty much it. Now, what I said at the end of Brookhaven Hospital in the original game is James is about to descend into a state of depression. And I mentioned that it is part of the Kubler-Ross 5 stages of grief. And that's really what I believe the game is actually about. A lot of people think that it's about guilt and punishment. And it is, but it's also about grief. I think it's more about grief than anything else. The first time you do this is just so memorable because it's so strange. It's so odd. You descend this staircase, and it literally feels like for a second, especially if you're walking down it, most people probably are because they're probably freaked out, so they don't want to run. They want to be cautious, right? So when you're just walking down it, it literally feels like it's never going to end. And what does that tell you? Well, it should tell you that something's just not right. You know, this should be extremely questionable. Like, is this actually happening? Is this for real? Is this a real thing? A real place? Or is this just another delusion that James is having? Because we know that he's capable of having delusions, right? He's capable of experiencing things that don't actually exist in our reality. And that foghorn sound is just getting longer, or it's getting more prominent, louder, faster as we descend. And it's about at this point where you remember what's written in that memo that we got in town. It's starting to maybe make a little bit more sense. Is this an abyss that we're descending into? A part of that abyss is in the old society. I think we found it. Well, let's reconsider what it says right here real quick. I wasn't looking for the truth. I was looking for tranquility. So could that mean that, you know, according to the note that we find at the end of the hospital just before we leave, he who is not bold enough to be stared at from across the abyss is not bold enough to stare into it himself. Well, the doctor just said it wasn't truth I was seeking, but tranquility. So maybe the doctor maybe this part of the journey has to do with the doctor. The doctor avoided this place because he didn't want to know the truth, didn't want to see the truth. He said it made him feel uneasy. Because the truth usually betrays people. That's what he says. It made me uneasy to have such a thing near. I wasn't looking for the truth, I was looking for tranquility. What does that sound like? Kind of sounds like denial, right? Which is one of the 5 stages of grief. I also saw that thing. I fled. But the museum was sealed as well. Now no one dares to approach that place. So apparently the doctor is seeing things now too. Now, in the hospital episode, I was like, maybe the doctor's like Laura and the doctor's not experiencing anything. But now we've got the doctor writing about seeing something. We don't know what it is. Maybe, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, maybe Joseph, even though he was a patient and he was trying to, they were attempting to, cure him, send him home. His doctor, that's what his doctor tried to do. Maybe he had some kind of conversation with Joseph, and Joseph maybe enlightened him or something. Maybe it was the lady of the door getting to Joseph, and then Joseph talking to the doctor, and then getting the doctor intrigued. Maybe that's why the doctor wrote that note that we find at the beginning of the hospital. Maybe Joseph tried to help the doctor face some kind of truth, and then the doctor changed his mind. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this. I've always wondered, Again, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm wrong. But maybe something like this happened. The doctor had an opportunity to do what James is attempting to do right now, to face the truth. And he just couldn't do it. So he stopped, buried the key, sealed it up. He couldn't do it. If you still do not wish to stop, James, I pray to the Lord to have mercy on your eternal soul. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Mysterious. Where have we found ourselves at now? No map. Of course we don't have a map. Why would we have a map? That music. There's something about the maps that make me feel more comforted. When I don't have a map, I feel a lot more scared. Okay, so we've got more stuff that's cult related here. An execution at the prison, death by skewering or strangling to choose his death is the prisoner's last taste of freedom. Oh, we're in a prison. Toluca Prison Camp. Built during the Civil War, later became Toluca Prison. Great. What is prison for? People that are receiving judgment, people that are guilty. Is that why we're here? See, now I can't remember where I've been, where I haven't been. Oh, it's the hole. It's dark and I can't see anything. Will you jump down? Yes, let's jump down because it's dark and we can't see anything. That's the perfect reason to jump in a hole. Oh, wow. Kind of looks like a well or something. Or what are those things called? A cistern? Something crazy like that. But initially you're freaking out because there's no door. It's like, man, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have jumped in that hole. I shouldn't be alive right now. I should have died. There's no way out. I'm going to starve to death. But trial and error, right? Where's it at? Aha, that's different. Oh. Okay. So yeah, guys, I think it's interesting that a lot of the mechanics from the new game are actually in the old game, but you might only do these things once or twice. Like, think about how many times James reaches into a hole in the wall in the new game. How many times he breaks walls down in the new game. He only does that once in this original game. He only breaks a wall down one time, and he only reaches into a wall one time. But you do that like repeatedly in the new game, and I don't really understand that. I know it kind of makes it all work, but I don't know. It just... It kind of makes it feel like their original idea has been exploited to some degree. And I'm not trying to be critically harsh. I'm just saying that, yeah, it kind of feels like that to some degree. Well, don't go back in that door, because if you do, it's going to spawn another lion figure out here. Actually, 2 of them. They just come right back to life, apparently. You can hear buzzing. What the hell's going on in here? I just came through a hole in the floor and I'm like standing horizontally in a vertical hallway. How trippy is that? Okay, James, you're starting to lose my confidence as far as accepting this as reality. And it's all starting to fall apart right now. Can I trust you anymore? I mean, should I have trusted you from the beginning? Is anything that you say accurate or true? I'm starting to doubt James. That's what's happening to me. Spiral writing key. Hey, it's dark. My flashlight went out. I pressed the switch, but nothing happens. No. I need my light. Well, it's a good thing we grabbed the dry cell battery from the hospital. All right, I'm dying. This is another trial and error kind of deal. So there's 3 buttons lit up, and you really just are supposed to keep trying until you get it. You're also getting hurt by these damn bugs, so you gotta be careful because they'll actually kill you. And it really shouldn't take this long to get it, but it's a little bit different too. Wait a minute. I got it. Oh my God, that was a pain in the ass. Either I'm just that stupid or that was just the biggest pain in the ass I've ever dealt with this game. And I've dealt with quite a few of them. I still love this game. But, guys, I've never had that happen before. So, in the bug room, you know, with the keypad with the lit up numbers, you just saw it. I've never had it do that where only 2 of the numbers are lit up. Ever. It's always been 3 numbers, and I've always gotten it like right away. Because you have to put the code in. It's always random. This game engine, it's based off of a random number generator. And so a lot of the stuff, like another thing to give you an example of is the turning combination lock for Joseph's box in the hospital. You know how when you fall down through the ceiling of the 3rd floor when Pyramid Head pushes you off and you go inside that padded room and there's blood on the wall and it's got the numbers on it. Those numbers are always random. And it's based off the game engine that does it. Well, I've never had that keypad only light up 2 numbers before. So it freaked me out at first. I was like, man, this got to be some kind of like bug or glitch in the game or something. Maybe it had something to do with the way my emulator was set up. So if you guys can't tell what we have to do next, you have to use this key that we found. Spiral writing key. Key with slim 3-inch cylinder attached. The cylinder is engraved with spiral writing. You can actually look at it closer. It says, "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." So that's kind of something really cool to point out right there. What's on the spiral writing key, because you'd never see that unless you checked it out. And I haven't been checking out all the items, but this one in particular, like, you'd never know that, like, unless you checked it out and actually examined it. But that's interesting, isn't it? "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." It sounds like the messages that we got from the doctor, right? The doctor's like, or perhaps you're a fool. It's usually the truth that betrays people. And this says, "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." So is that why this all seems unreal? Like a nightmare? Like this isn't really happening? Is James dead? Is he really in this place, purgatory place? Well, look what we're about to do. It's pitch black beyond the door. I can't tell how far the blackness stretches. Will you go down? So we're about to jump down a freaking vertical hallway. Look how crazy that looks.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head. Pow! You killed him? But it wasn't my fault. He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
That guy, he had it coming. I didn't do anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes, like that other one.
Just for that, you killed him?
What do you mean, just for that?
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Oh yeah? Why not? Till now I always let people walk all over me. Just like that stupid dog. He had it coming too.
Eddie?
I was just joking, James. He was dead when I got here, honest. Anyway, I gotta run.
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie?
So yeah, can you guys guess if Eddie here might be just a little bit delusional? Seems like we're noticing a trend with Eddie too. This is the 3rd time that we've ran into him, and 2 out of 3 times there's a corpse that he's denying the death of. So he was actually seeing truth. Like whenever he said what he said, he was actually being honest. When he said killing a person ain't no big deal, just put the gun to their head, pow. He was actually being honest. He was, to some degree, accepting. So this stages of grief thing that I'm referring to, it definitely applies to Eddie and Angela as well. I said it was mainly about James, but it also fits in with their stories too. It's a corpse. The body is marked with bullet holes. So let me guess, Eddie, after, just sitting there with that crazy, psychotic Jack Torrance look in your eyes, you're actually going to deny and pretend like you didn't just kill this guy. Yeah, I totally believe you. Man, what kind of food are they serving at this prison? Anyway, guys, we'll see what this is. Tablet of Gluttonous Pig. Okay, we're going to get into that. In the next installment of the Silent Hill 2 project. Until then, let's catch back up in the remake and try to make it to this point in the new game. Alright, so stay tuned. I'll get right back with you. Welcome back into the remake, guys. Picking up where we left off. Just found this note that the doctor left talking about the other side that I've referred to several times. I won't read it again, but it's interesting how they waited until after the scene with Maria in the elevator to present that note to the player. So they switched it up on us just a little bit. I do have kind of an opinion or some thoughts on that in particular, and how it kind of affects the story, but I won't get into that right this second. I'll just I'll hold off on that for now to talk about it. So we can finally get out of here. And guys, this is kind of the same deal. We're in the same position, same boat as in the original game. We're trying to make our way over to collect the item that we need to progress, which is going to get us ultimately to the Historical Society. And I'm going to try to make this and she just came out of the darkness and shanked me. I'm going to try to make this flow as good as I can, but I do kind of get hung up in some of these areas. Not even gonna lie. And you guys know that my strategy is, especially in the streets, my strategy is primarily just to run, just to get the hell out. And I'm already getting turned around. So bear with me while I try to remember the path to get through here, because it's not obvious. And that's one thing you got to give it to Bloober about, like, some of the things they didn't really make too obvious. Like this right here. I'm just trying to survive, guys. This next part of the game, it's pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie. I struggled with it a lot the first time. I had some problems getting through here. It's kind of frustrating. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Definitely need to go through that door, but I think we go down there by where it says Lakeside Diner once we get out this door.
Laura, stop! It's dangerous!
How could you not dodge that, James? Just go. Oh, shit. Mistake. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. It's been a while, guys. It's been a while. Yeah, I'm dead. I gotta get back into it. I gotta get my mind right. See, you slip up and the game will punish you. Time to focus.
Laura, stop! It's dangerous!
Bitch. Okay, that like clearly clipped through the damn nurse. So you guys are immune to chainsaws now. So it would seem. Alright. So this is what we have to do right here. Last time I did this, I got through fairly easily, but I have struggled a lot with it. Okay. Just keep moving. I recognize the truck. Damn it. God. It's just... I wasn't ready, guys. I'm sorry, I wasn't ready. This is gonna be a uphill climb. I think I'm going the right way. Uphill battle. See, that what I have to avoid is getting myself stuck in any dead ends.
Laura, please, wait!
Alright, now this part right here, I pointed it out to you in the original game. We've still got these mandarins. But like I said, they are a whole other story in this game. Like they're no joke.
Laura? Where did she go?
If you guys think the nurses and the mannequins and all that are challenging, the mandarins are like 10 times worse. Okay, here is our note that's in the hospital in the original game. The really important note right here. And there you go. Now we have to get up there. And it's not a straightforward path. Now we're familiar with where we are because we came over here in the normal version of the town. Those are the apartments on Saul Street. So we know where we are. See, this is a freaking dead end. Bastard. Okay. We do have the white. We missed. We've got the white cloth signifying that this is the right way to go, but is it through here? No. Through here. Come on, I was pushing the dodge button. Shit! Oh! No, 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 no! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Hit her! All right, just get out. Just get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Okay. I know I sound frustrated, guys, but I actually, I love it. I do. Oh! Come Come on. Okay. I wish I could find the right words to describe, like, exactly how I feel about this game. It's not like the original game in this way, because the combat is so much more defined. It makes the games feel so different. And I know I mentioned that before, but for real, guys, like, it feels so different. But, you know, maybe this is what they wanted the original game to feel like. They didn't have the technology back then to make it this intense as far as, like, the action goes. But I'm not completely convinced by that. I prefer the original, honestly, I do. That's just my opinion. And I'm not saying that I don't like this, and I'm not saying that this is bad, I'm just saying it's different. It's different. So it changes the feel of the game for me. Shit, I saw the mannequin at the last second. Oh my god, he kicked my ass. Alright, I'm getting out. That mannequin just tore me up. Yeah, there's a phone ringing here.
Hello? Anyone there?
There's our next note about the wrench and the key in the park. The key will let loose the abyss. So that's new. Also, it says the truth usually betrays people you should know. So that's an added line. You should know. The truth usually betrays people. So that gives some insight. Like, maybe that's why James is in denial and doesn't want to see the truth, because he feels like it's going to betray him. Too painful, maybe. All of this stuff just kind of alludes to the idea of, again, like the 5 steps, the 5 stages of grieving, which this kind of sounds like denial. Like, somebody in denial would think that the truth would betray them. So they would rather, it's like in the original game, when the doctor says I wasn't looking for truth, I was looking for tranquility. So it's like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing that it's alluding to right here. The wrench will open the gate. The key will let loose the abyss. Don't forget to grab the wrench. Yeah, that would suck. Okay, but now, thanks to the fact that we just played the original game, we know exactly what to do. We need to look for that door, right? The door that wakes in darkness. And remember, the new one is actually up here. So it's kind of calm right now. If we wanted to, we could probably have a good look around, and I might do that. Let's go look at the original door that wakes in darkness. It's down this street right here by the Woodside Apartments. Oh, you can't actually get over there now. Okay, so that's blocked off. Wonder why they did that. Maybe so you wouldn't get confused between the old and the new. I don't know. But yeah, now that it's calm, I'll slow down a little bit. I'll stop rushing through all of it. Shotgun shells. Can no longer access groovy music. What about that little side alley? Nope. So I guess the game really just intends on you to get on with it anyway. Okay, here's our new door. It's already open. That's supposed to hint around to the fact that Laura must have come this way. The door, she left it cracked for us. Guess I'll save again. So the wrench served a new purpose in this game. It's kind of different. Uh-oh. Nope, nope, nope. I'm not messing with you right now. You don't want to mess around with those things. Not unless you absolutely have to. I avoid those things at all costs. They do a lot of damage, potentially. But guys, I just remembered one thing that I was planning on doing, and that's going right back by Jack's Inn to check out room 6. You know, the room I pointed out that I said was in Silent Hill 3. We're going to go by there and check that out. I don't really think there's anything else. You can still go in Pete's Bolorama, but I don't know that anything has changed in that place. It's really hard to see right here. But we're looking for the statue again. And let's see if that's the way out. No. Okay, it's got it circled, so it's locked. Oh, I don't think we found that one last time we came here. Is it up here? No, I'm just going the wrong freaking way. This gate, the gate that I just went through, it was locked the first time we came here when we met Maria. Here we go.
Hey. Are you feeling better?
This place is different from what I remember. I guess things never really stay the same, do they?
I guess not.
I don't think she's here anymore, James.
Who?
My mama? She doesn't want to see me anymore.
Why would you think that? Anyway, I'm happy to see you.
Happy to see me?
Alive, I mean.
Oh. Yeah. I better get going.
You still don't want me to go with you? If we stick together, we might just make it out of here.
Out of where?
This town. Silent Hill.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Oh, you didn't happen to see a little girl around here, did you?
A little girl?
Yeah, Angela? Are you all right?
No. Please. You shouldn't be here.
Angela, it's okay.
No, don't touch me!
So we've got an added cutscene, not in the original game, and not even necessary, if you ask me. I'm trying to put myself in the perspective of somebody that has never played the original game, watching that cutscene. I guess the one purpose that it may serve is to build suspense toward Angela. We got to remember that in the remake apartments, there was no picture of her family in the floor like there is in the original game. And she's talking again about her mother, and she finally just, I guess in this cutscene, she's starting to accept that she's not going to find her mother. And again, guys, I have a lot to say about Angela, but I'm holding out. I'm going to hold out until we draw close to the end of the game, because there's some important details that I feel like a lot of people may have not considered about Angela. And I'm really excited to share this with you guys. Again, there's probably going to be a lot of people that don't agree with what I have to say about her, and may even get offended at what I do have to say about her, but I'm going to hold off until we get closer to the end of the game. And but yes, I just wanted to point that out. I don't really think that was necessary, and it doesn't really give us any kind of underlying clues or details. You know, again, things that are less obvious. It doesn't really point anything out about that. It might, you know, for the newcomer, it might build the suspense, and it might get them to start thinking about her more in that kind of way. Well, there's clearly something wrong with her. The way that she reacts to James, she's done it 2 times now, and obviously she doesn't feel comfortable around him. Is it because he's a man? Is it because he's a stranger? Like, you know, I guess in that way the cutscene is appropriate, but I really don't think it's needed. I think it's filler, and it's unnecessary. But that's just my opinion. That's a creepy statue. There's our note that we find from the original game. It looks like maybe the only thing that they added here was after no one dares to approach that place, now I offer you the key. So again, I guess that would kind of portray what I was saying earlier, that maybe Joseph, unless it's, you know, trying to bring the 3 new patients that we learned about at the hospital in this game, this version of Silent Hill 2, unless it's got something to do with the new patients, I would say that, yeah, this just alludes to what I was talking about earlier with the doctor and with Joseph. The doctor having an opportunity to do what James is doing and deciding not to do it. That's just my speculation. Nothing more. Okay, but now we can get out of here. Oh. I didn't realize you could come in the women's restroom. Sorry guys, I'm having a hard time seeing. it's so dark in the game and I've got these bright lights shining on me. Okay, I've already been here. I'm just going in circles now. Need to be over here on this side. Okay, so now we're back out on Nathan Avenue, but I want to check something out real quick at the motel and go back to room 6, or sorry, 106. And this will get you an achievement trophy, I'm pretty sure. But check out the wall right here. That's the halo of the sun from Silent Hill 3. So it's pretty cool touch. I think you could get into the bathroom earlier, but you can't now. Very quiet right now. I guess they're making up for the fact that they utterly destroyed me when I left the hospital. Now they're giving me a break. The music right here too, I'll point out, it's a lot different than that looping background track from the original game. It's like the town track. I'm not sure what the name of the actual song is or the music, but this music right here, it feels a little bit lackluster in terms of what Akira Yamaoka's capable of, and it makes the vibe feel different in this part of the game, in my opinion. Like the music's very calm. It sounds kind of suspenseful, but it doesn't really have that Silent Hill unique kind of feel to it, if you ask me. It's atmospheric, but it's not not on that level. Another thing is, remember when we came up here, I made the bonus video from the town. We came up here to check out how far we could go on Nathan Avenue, and we found this corpse. Well, apparently if you come back to it now, it'll be like more decomposed. So I've heard. This is also in the original game. So you've got a couple of dead mannequins in the street. They kind of like jump out of the bushes on you in the original game. Oh yeah, it is. Check that out. It's really gross looking. All right. Well, nothing left to do now but enter the Historical Society. So we'll take a good look around in here. Now, I've heard that this picture right here is actually the original Team Silent. So it would be Sato, Ito, Owaku, Yamaoka, like all of them in this picture right here. That's what I've heard. It's not very detailed, so you can't really tell that much about it, but the new clock. Does that mean that the nail was removed? The nail that was stopping time? Okay, this is noteworthy. The Little Baroness, maiden voyage of 1916. So we're gonna read a little bit more about that in the next video. Looks like an urn. The Lady of the Light, the unveiling of one of two statues commemorating the local folk tale. So I guess that's the statue that Maria took us to. Kind of cool. It's exactly what the subtext says in the original game. Among the local legends is that of the Lady of the Light. The story tells of a woman who was accused and found guilty of witchcraft. As punishment, she was taken to a small island out on the lake, a minuscule stretch of rocky soil devoid of any food or shelter. There she was to suffer a slow, excruciating death as her body succumbed to cold and hunger. However, unbeknownst to the rest of the townsfolk, there was a young man among them who, having gazed into the woman's eyes, as bright and beautiful as the midsummer's moon, had vowed undying love for her. When she was convicted wrongly, as he believed, he swore that he would not let her suffer such a cruel fate. While waiting for an opportunity to abscond with his beloved, every night he would sneak out and row across the lake, bringing her food and something to keep her warm. And every night the woman would stand there on the shore holding a lit candle to help him find his way. But then one night, when the sky was exceptionally clear, devoid of even a wisp of cloud, the young man set out on his nightly escapade. As always, he would look out into the distance, looking for the light in the darkness that would lead him to his beloved. On that night, however, the moon shone so bright and so vibrant, stronger than any candle could. Seeing the light's reflection in the water, the young man was led astray. He rowed and rowed and rowed, following the reflected light, hoping against hope he could reach it. He did not care for his aching arms or the shortness of his breath, utterly mesmerized by the illusory light. When his boat tipped over, the man was so exhausted from rowing, so weakened were his arms, that he was not able to swim to shore. Thus he succumbed to a watery grave. Although left alone, the woman on the island never lost hope. She kept coming out at night and kept lighting the candle. The legend says that those looking for true love can still see the lady's light out on the lake, shining to bring her beloved home. While the story is clearly meant as a metaphor and a cautionary tale, it is to a certain extent rooted in reality, as the area has indeed seen its share of religious persecution, such as that of, and it says nothing else. You know, if he really wanted to, he could turn the page. So yeah, it's just interesting flavor text there. More on the story that Maria shared with us. There's our picture of the hole we're about to jump down into. And they definitely, I don't know if that was actually such a complete and definitive thing in the original game. I definitely don't recall ever finding any kind of lore like that in the original game, so I don't know if that's something that they just, you know, added to the story for the sake of all the things that they added to the game, and that like Bloober added that and it wasn't part of the original game or not. I mean, we do have the statue in Rosewater Park from the original game that talks about a victim, you know, the witch that was burned or whatever by the Puritans or the Christians. This game, it actually says Christians, but it might say Puritans, like, we don't know. So there's that, and well, I don't know, guys. It's more that I feel like they added that's not really in the original game. So my thoughts on that is, like, they wanted to add more content with Maria, so they came up with this story and they based it off of the statue that's in Rosewater Park that talks about the woman that was burned at the stake. And so they used that statue to kind of come up with a new portion of story to go with the game, which is fine because, again, it being a remake. But I don't think that the original developers, I mean, I don't know for sure, I don't know anything for sure, but I don't think they wanted to allude on that in such a great depth originally, or if they did, they would have added it to the game, but they didn't. Instead, they didn't even really make that statue stand out from the other statues. And like I was saying earlier, much earlier, when we went through Rosewater Park in the original game, that all the memorials, all the statues are all based on one thing: memory, because that's really what the game is based on. And that's why we have mold, we have rot. One thing that I should have said in the hospital video from the original game, when we entered the nightmare and all that plastic and stuff was covered over everything, is if James's version of the Nightmare Silent Hill has to do with like water damage and rot, and it kind of has that theme to it, how is that connected to his story? How is water connected to his story? Well, they say that water holds memory. And so that goes with the theme of remembrance, right? Well, if you look at a bunch of the stuff in the nightmare version of the hospital from the original game, it's all wrapped up in plastic. And why would it be wrapped up in plastic? To keep it from getting contact or having contact with water, right? To protect it from getting wet, to protect it from rot. But if memory is in water, then that means the revealed truth would be in the memory that's in the water. You get where I'm going with this? This is just a theory that I thought of. Like, so everything is like wrapped up to protect it from the water. It's like symbolic. Like everything that's wrapped up to protect it from getting wet is like James's mind. And he's got all these things wrapped up, things that would be obvious to anybody else, people like Laura, you know, things that he is trying to protect from the truth. And so it kind of reflects that way in the nightmare, where you got all these things wrapped up to keep it from getting exposed to the memory in the water. That's how his mind is, because he's protecting himself from certain recollections. He's like repressing things, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I've heard people say that the game is all about grief and amnesia, like forgetting the truth or whatever. But I disagree. I think it's more about grief in the 5 stages, which I will elaborate more on. But I wanted to stop and share that with you. I think it's important to talk about. I guess I could have been talking about it while we descended the staircase, but oh well. It's like a pipe or something, I guess. The stone looks really cool in here. You can tell it's like 3-dimensional. So yeah, just remember everything I already said about this stairway. Like, at this point, you're questioning this. Like, this can't be real. So you're questioning James. Is he a reliable narrator? Can you trust what he's seeing, what he's thinking? Toluca Prison, September 11th, 1820. Prisoner number C221. So I'm gonna get through the rest of this and then we'll bring the video to an end. But I'd like to get through this part first because in my opinion you're not truly in the prison until you get through the cutscene with Eddie. Really cool how similar this part right here is to the original game. And it looks exactly the same. The room with the hole. And I asked you like 3 times, do you really want to jump? Do you really want to jump? Something else I'd like to say here, guys, is like, I was saying that they kind of exploited on the wall breaking and the sticking your arm in the wall. Well, there's one thing about the original game that it repeated a lot, and that is jumping down the holes. And we haven't seen the last of the holes. Believe me, we haven't. Here we go again. All right, this one's a lot more obvious. Ah, you asshole. I didn't think he was actually going to come in here. But he sure did. You can't see it very well, but it does actually say on the key this time, "'Tis doubt that leadeth thee to purgatory." So it's pretty cool. Alright, I just need to get through this. Oh, you ass. I really don't like this part in either of the games. Is that it? It's just there to freak you out, you know. Okay, but check this part out. Same hallway that we're gonna be jumping into. Stop doing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing, James. Just jump. You gotta push it like a couple times to get him to jump. Like the game's like, are you really sure you want to jump?
Ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head and pow.
Eddie?
Oh, hi, James.
What happened here? Who was that?
I don't know. It just came at me.
Okay. So he attacked you, and you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me do it.
Okay, calm down, Eddie. Any idea why he would do that?
I don't know. He came out of nowhere. Tried sneaking up on me in the dark. I heard footsteps, so I turned back and he was right there.
And you could tell that he wanted to hurt you.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way he looked at me, I just had to do it.
He looked at you? I thought you said he came at you.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in his eyes.
His eyes.
He kept looking at me, making fun of me. And I told him not to, but he didn't listen.
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here. I got you, didn't I? Well, anyway, I better get going.
Wait. You're gonna go out there alone?
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was so good. I mean, they captured everything about that. Everything that I pointed out to about the denial and everything else. I think they did a phenomenal job with Eddie. No doubt about it. He's got a different feel, but I mean, I think they captured the character even better than it is in the original game. But yeah, this is just so memorable, especially if this is your first time playing. Man, it's creepy in here even. The hell is that noise? Okay guys, well, I need to find a save point so we can end the video. I don't want to skip anything without you seeing it, but we are in Toluca prison now, so here we go. Perfect. I will save my game and we will continue in the original game when I come back and check out Toluca prison. Okay, but until then, thanks again for watching, everybody. Take it easy. Again, I will try to be as persistent as I possibly can be with the uploading of the videos, but there might be some gaps, especially with the holidays coming up. I'll do what I can, but I can't make any promises. But I hope you guys come back and check me out in the next one when it does finally come. And until then, take care and happy gaming. All right, until next time, later.